Hey, it's me, Vicki Marie, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. And now then, depending on what time of day it is, I don't know if you're just about to have your breakfast, your lunch, or your dinner, but I just want to give you a little warning now that some of the scenes that you're going to see in this house, this chamber of horrors, this hell house where this poor girl, it looks like she spent her final days. We don't know what happened to her yet. We haven't got full details of everything. We don't know her cause of death, etc. Oh, what we do know is that Pheobe Bishop, she was staying in this for what we don't know why either, do we? We don't know why, Phoebe had left her home, if you like, her mother's house, where I presume she'd been living before. And she went to live in this house. Look, you can get some, we're going to see it all in great detail anyway. Went to live in this house for some reason with two older people that she trusted. Phoebe herself, of course, only 17 years old. And then the worse than that, at the end of the day, it's not a bad thing. If you're living in that house must have been awful because it is a mess. It is what you would commonly term a shithole, basically. But that's not obviously the terrible thing that happened. For some reason, these housemates that she had, who it seems like were people that she knew, or at least Tanika, the woman, and her partner James. Phoebe seemed to think, that she could trust them. Tanika had a connection with her family. They'd been sociable together. They'd worked together. There's lots of photos of them together. And in fact, all of Phoebe's family with this woman, Tanika. And again, that's all to come out, the exact relationship and what Tanika did, for a living, etc. We haven't had all the full details. But she went to live with them. For whatever reason, she must have trusted them to go and live there. And then she disappeared completely. And it's not known yet until the results of the autopsy comes out exactly when Phoebe died, but she is deceased after quite a long amount of searching, although this couple said they had taken her and dropped her off at Bundaberg Airport. So this is all taking place in Victoria in Australia. She was Phoebe was supposed to be going to visit her boyfriend who lived in New South Wales. She was getting a flight there. This couple said they had taken her to the airport and dropped her off. Didn't know what had happened to her. And then, of course, after quite a lot of searching, few arrests and releasing of these people on bail. Also, then it was found that they did have firearms and they were charged with Tanika had a sawn-off shotgun in her car. They'd also changed their car number plates. When I say change them, altered them with felt tip pens. It looked like, nothing sophisticated. And anyway, finally they were arrested and charged with the murder of Phoebe. And later that same day, this was just a couple of days ago, very sadly, Phoebe's remains were found in a park, like a national park, the Goodnight National Park, not far away from where this sort of, Hindley and Brady type, Fred and Rose West type couple had said they had dropped her off to get her plane, but she had never gone into the airport. She never took the flight. And although they said they dropped her off just not at the airport, but, they're CCTV savvy, like they did not say they dropped her at the airport. But anyway, they obviously didn't, one way or another. Now, they did drive to the airport because their car was seen driving to the airport. Was that just a ruse? You know, was Phoebe already deceased then in the boot, or in the back, sat up in the back? Who knows? That again is to come out. We don't know the full circumstances of exactly when Phoebe met her death. It could have been a few days before, for all we know. And did they take her to the airport? May even have been them who booked the flight. We don't know the last text that was sent by Phoebe. We don't even know if it was her who sent them, do we? So, you know, as I say, a lot to come out about this case. And the autopsy, when the results come through, that will tell us a lot about when exactly Phoebe died. And did they pretend to take her to the airport? As I say, they drove to the airport. Was that just to make it look as if they did? Was she already deceased by then? These are all the questions that are waiting to be answered. But in the meantime, I wanted to show you this video because one of the Australian news channels has presented a very good video, I think, to show us. Now, don't forget the landlord and landlady of this property where they lived. They've got to sort this property out, and this video is so interesting because we see what it was like before they moved in. We get an idea of how beautiful this property was. You can see that it should be a beautiful property, a rural property. But then also the thing I was shocked to hear was, I think they'd only been there 6 months. I mean, you could see how that could happen over years, even though I couldn't see how it could happen. But literally, when someone moves into a property and within 6 months it's like this, you know, mental health issues can come into play. All sorts of things will come into play. I know people can, you know, I'm not saying I'm like housewife of the year or anything, but there's a difference between messiness and this, which is pure squalor, dirty mess. You know, that is different, isn't it? But how could it have happened in sorry, I just got a message there. How could it happen in just 6 months? You know, I think really for this to happen in 6 months, as you'll see, you literally never cleaned anything. You know, not even once. Not you just let your dog poo everywhere and not even cleared up one poo in the house. This is, you know. 6 months is a short, you know, at least if they'd been there, I don't know, a year or 5 years or whatever. It's absolute. So I'm just warning you, if you're just about to have your breakfast or your lunch or your dinner, depending on where you are in this crazy world, just be aware that it isn't very nice. But anyway, so I'm just going to say thank you, first of all, as always. Thank you to my subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing so that you get updates on this case and all the other ones we're dealing with. Don't forget to leave your fingerprint on the on the like button. Thank you, special thank you as always to my members. I need to make a little thing to put up there, just say thank you to the members, etc. Instead of keep saying it, maybe a little button to show. I mean, I've got a thank you button, but something special. I'll work on that. Thank you to those of you buying me a Ko-fi. Thank you to those of you who send super stickers, PayPal me, or send me nice emails, leave me nice messages, make nice comments, even just watching without doing any of those things. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to take my banner off. I'm going to say my hellos to you lovely lurkers, lovely fellow lurkers. Hi, and hi to replay crew, and hi, of course, to those of you who are brave enough to venture into the chat. And I'm going to say hi to you now. So, hi, sheep farmer. Thank you. 11 p.m. in Australia. Oh, I might pick up some Australian viewers in this then. Well, I picked you up because, I was thinking, maybe it's a bit late for Australian viewers, but, it's always either too late or too early for someone. Hi, Yvonne. You're having a lie down. That's like me. I get up early and then I haven't had a siesta yet today, but I will be having one later. Hi, David. Hi, Tracy. Yeah, at the moment I'm getting you all up bright and early, aren't I, for the mushroom murder trial. But do you know what? It's riveting, isn't it? Oh my God. And as it's supposed to be coming towards its end. Does it, we feel like still quite a long way off it. But tomorrow I won't get you up so bright and early because tomorrow I've got classes, but earlier. So yeah, you'll get, it won't be so early tomorrow. I have to work around my classes, of course, as well. Hi, Angel. Heather. Hi, Heather. So, yeah, there you go. There's quite a lot of you here. So I suppose in the UK, you'll have all had your lunch. I hope you've all had your lunch anyway. That's all I can say. I really hope you've had your lunch already. So, yeah. So this poor girl, Phoebe, 17 years old. I'm still intrigued that a 17-year-old girl would be staying with two 30-odd-year-olds. What is the connection? Why did she feel she could trust them? It's obviously through Tanika, isn't it? There's Tanika is, I don't think Phoebe would have gone off to stay with James, on his own. She's gone there to stay because Tanika, she's felt like she could trust Tanika, in my opinion. And of course, poor Phoebe, her mum is absolutely devastated. And as you can imagine, and the rest of her family, her sister, I haven't got a picture of her sister here actually. But perhaps after we've seen the video of the house, we'll have a look at the vigil, because they had a vigil for Phoebe. What day is it today? Tuesday. So I think it was Sunday, the vigil, and I'll have a look, see if we can find. In fact, I'll have a look, see if I can get it up now. Because that might be nice to look at for Phoebe. I mean, the thing is, we can only hope Phoebe is, away from all this, the craziness of this world and life. Hopefully, she's, oh yeah, there is a little video of the vigil as well. So in fact, I think we might have a look at that now first, shall we? So this was the vigil that was held for Phoebe.
A community has united in heartbreak tonight, gathering for an emotional candlelight vigil to honour the life of Pheobe Bishop, who was allegedly murdered by her two housemates. Let's go straight to Hukaya Grips.
Oh yeah, we mustn't forget allegedly. Allegedly.
Who's there. Hataya, we've heard from Phoebe's mother.
We have, Paul, and she was incredibly strong speaking to this crowd this afternoon, and it was an incredibly emotional afternoon. Hundreds of people turning out to pay tribute to her daughter, Phoebe Bishop. The 17-year-old girl is being remembered as being fearlessly protective and having an untamable force. A sea of butterflies also to represent that wild and free spirit that she is known to have had.
Yeah, because her mum said she has a wild, free spirit. She loved butterflies. And the thing is, vigils are interesting, aren't they? Because, us as human beings, people want to come together, or some people, vigils are not their thing. Some people just don't like crowds of people or whatever. Some people prefer to do things privately. But there's a lot of people who get comfort from, what's the word? Community grief. It's like knowing that everyone's there, and they are very emotional vigils, even if you don't want to actually be there yourself. To watch them, they're always emotional, seeing people hugging each other lighting candles. I don't like the balloons and things like that going off because, you know, they can cause, just for sort of environmental reasons. But there's other ways, you know, that you can celebrate someone's life. Lighting a candle. Sometimes they set doves off, don't they, or birds, let birds free, etc. But I think the important thing is everybody's feeling that togetherness, because people, whoever they are in this community, whatever age they are, it will resonate with everybody for one reason or another. So for young people similar age to Phoebe, then maybe they knew her, or they feel like they're similar age to her. Younger children, you know, it will affect them. Older sort of people, it will. And I don't know where Phoebe's father is, but it's a mum that we always tend to see. I don't know about her father, but and her sister, of course. Everyone, when it's like normal people, if you like, you know, just everyday people, families, we can all resonate with that for one reason or another. Seems to me, but again, I don't know for sure, that maybe that Phoebe had some sort of issues like all teenagers do. I mean, teenagers have issues, and you know, you just hope they come through it. And I feel like Phoebe felt she could trust this couple because of Tanika. She felt she could trust them, and she's been let down terribly.
To have had. And we did also hear from Phoebe's sister as well. We do want to play some of what Phoebe's mum and Phoebe's sister did have to say at the vigil this afternoon and how they'd like Phoebe to be remembered.
Phoebe always sung her own tune. She lived to the fullest. She loved the people that she loved to every extent of the earth. And she was 200% invested in the people that she loved. And that is what we need to hang on to and remind ourselves of every day. Phoebe, 17 years was never enough for her life.
So this is Phoebe's sister, isn't it? Now, I think every time I look at her sister, I think, God, this is the nearest that we come to ever knowing Phoebe, you know, or seeing Phoebe in person, because they look alike, don't they? And in fact, in the mum, they all look alike. You can see the family resemblance. But, you know, you just cannot imagine that you'd ever be in that position, could you? You know, but anyway.
But in the short 17 years that she was with us, God, she gave us a run for our bloody money. But that's just the way Phoebe was, but she was loyal.
So it sounds, reading between the lines, she's probably a character. She's probably had, as I say, lots of issues. All teenagers do, you know, and teenagers, what she was saying about her emotions being so strong and that. Teenagers feel everything. Do you remember that? When I say they feel, it's not that we don't feel it. As you get older, you still feel things. But when you're a teenager, everything is that extra concentrated, isn't it? If you fall in love with someone, it's like, you know, oh, this is it. This is the be all and end all of everything. And then if that splits up, it's the end of the world. And, you know, you sort of don't think you'll ever recover from it. You know, whereas as you get older, it's like, oh, well, another one bites the dust off. Oh, great, means I can do what I want tonight. You know, teenagers feel, because probably of their hormones racing around and everything going on with teenagers, I swear to God, I would not go back to being a teenager. I'd like to go back sometimes, maybe in my 30s or whatever, but I wouldn't want to go back to being a teenager and all that angst and all that, you know, confusion that you feel. So Phoebe will have been a typical teenager for that, but she does sound, from what her sister says, I mean, you know, that she was perhaps a little bit of a character.
To the core to everybody she loved, respected and valued in her life.
Paul, while it was incredibly emotional, we did also hear from Phoebe's mum joking about how opinionated her girl was, and there is a second vigil also being planned in Bundaberg tomorrow for those who couldn't make it today.
Thank you for that, Haya. Very sad.
Yeah. So let's have a look now. Are you ready? I hope you're not about to eat. You know, if you're about to eat, maybe you should cancel it and eat later instead. I've got to have lunch after this. But I had to have breakfast after the Erin Patterson sort of thing. But anyway, listen, Erin is a whole different matter, isn't she? I mean, Phoebe, poor Phoebe. Did Phoebe know what this house was like when she went to live there? Or did, you know, you can sort of imagine, this has happened to me. You can sort of imagine it, can't you? Somebody inviting you to stay at your house when you're having problems. And you're like, thank God for that, because you need that little escape for whatever reason, whatever the reason is. And then getting there, you know, what if you didn't know it before? Getting there and then finding it's a total shithole like this place. Or like what happened to me is actually spending the night at somebody's house and feeling the bed bugs crawling all over me while I was there. But, you know, just the situation I was in at the moment, that was better than the situation that I would have been looking at if I wasn't there. And then I've stayed as, I mean, now I think I'd rather sleep in my car, but if I had to go anywhere. But, you know, and I don't mean to borrow, but people offer you a sanctuary or whatever, and that's nice. But sometimes you don't realise what that sanctuary is going to be, do you? So, anyway. Creamy chicken pie, David. Yeah, well, yeah, later on, not right now, because as I say, this is, you know, it's not very nice, to be honest. It just breaks my heart to think that this was where Phoebe spent her last days. And did she maybe, as I say, not realise? Just imagine this Tanika saying to her, oh, you can come and stay with us. You know, and then her getting there, and then what does she does? I mean, do you know, we don't even know yet. The minute that Phoebe got there, something might have happened. Might not have, she might, you know, we don't know that the texts that were sent were from her. We don't know the timeline yet. Okay.
Take you inside the filthy home Phoebe Bishop shared with the people now accused of murdering her.
It offers new insight into her final days and maybe why she was desperate to escape.
Stepping into Jinjin's house of hell.
Right. I'm just speechless. So these people are supposed to have only been here 6 months. This is just the outside. But how can you make that much? I just literally, honestly, it can't have been just 6 months, surely. How can you make all that mess in 6 months, even just that? Even if you were trying. I mean, you're literally not throwing anything in the bin at all. But it just seems exceptional. But I suppose there was 2 of them. They have to have both been the same. So supposing it was James who was dirty, surely Tanika would have made some effort to keep on top of it. You know, they both must have been exactly the same, in my opinion, for it to get as bad as this.
This is just a hint of what will confront you behind this door.
I can't prepare you enough for this.
Now, this is the landlord. Now, as I say, we'll see some pictures later of what the house was like when he lived there with his wife. You wouldn't even recognise it. What I don't understand really is how the police have let the police must be happy with the forensics that they've taken away already, because they're allowed into the house and they're showing reporters round the house, you know, so anyway.
It's where Phoebe Bishop saw out her final days. The only thing worse than the squalor is the stench.
Yeah, and luckily we haven't got smell-o-vision, have we? You know, this is just we can only see what it looks like. We can't smell it, thank goodness. But I think the lady there, her expression and putting her T-shirt over her nose tells us a lot, doesn't it? Oh my God. Literally, I've got to say I've done a lot more cleaning since I started watching this than I did before. You know, since I started watching about this case, because you know it's. Thing is, things can get out of hand. Now, things can get out of hand. Funny enough, in class this morning with the students I was with, we were talking about how, you know, cleaning can get overwhelming. You know, if you know, sometimes maybe you're ill for a while, or you know, and you can't sort of do it, and maybe you can't afford to get someone in, because obviously the easy answer is to get someone in to do it. But if you can't afford it, you know, what do you do? But it can get overwhelming, and sometimes I do think people give up. So quite often, you know, things like this are connected with trauma. If you watch those hoarding programs, etc., quite often events like this are connected with trauma, isn't it? When they go back to when somebody started being untidy, or this is not untidy, this is dirty. It can be connected sometimes with traumatic events, a bereavement or something like that, or they just can't keep up with it. And, you know, I understand that it can get overwhelming. What I think is, if you leave it too long, I could see how you could just let it go. But I cannot see, I can understand the messiness. I just cannot understand the dirtiness, like this dog excrement throughout this house. You know, that's what I can't understand, things like that, because to me, hi Tracy, hi Annie, yeah, to me it doesn't. Oh, this is nothing, Annie. Wait till you see the rest of it. You know what? I've forgotten. I've lost my train of thought now. Yeah, I couldn't leave dog poo in the middle of the room. No, if I was physically able, I mean, unless I was at. I mean, don't forget, these are young people. They're only in their 30s. There's nothing physical wrong with them. I could not leave dog poo in the middle of my house unless I was physically unable to clear it up. Do you know, you'd have to be disabled, wouldn't you? And then you'd phone like the social services or whatever and say, look, I just can't do this. There's no excuse for this mess that these 30-odd-year-old people were living in. And I think drugs, honestly, there's definitely drugs involved in this, because you'd have to be drugged up or drunk, or, you know, you'd have to be totally out of it to be able to live in this. So imagine these people, they own this property. As I say, you'll see shortly how it was when they lived there, how lovely it was. And all right, it's not their home now. They were renting it out. Tanika never missed a month's payment, though, for the rent. The rent was paid. It was, I think it'd been 10 days, though. The rent had been due for 10 days. That makes me wonder, how long had Phoebe been dead, I wonder? Who phoned to make that flight, you know, to book that flight? We saw that happen in the John George case. Just because Phoebe booked a flight doesn't mean say it was her who booked it, does it? And remember, the police have said Phoebe was moved at least twice. You know, I think there's so much more to come out in this case.
Oh, my goodness.
The free-spirited 17-year-old who lived away from family was subjected to...
I mean, you'd have to be free-spirited to put up with that, wouldn't you? I mean, you know, look at that. I presume the chain's something to do with the dog. But there's, you know, and it's not even fair to let dogs live like that. I mean, if it's true that those puppies that were found dead died of natural causes, I'm not surprised. They probably had parvo or something. You know, dogs pick up infections and illnesses. I just can't believe this has only been 6 months.
Family was subjected to absolute filth by her housemates and accused killers Tanika Bromley and James Wood.
This was originally our bedroom.
The landlord met his wife and started their family while living in this old...
There you go. So this is how the house used to be. You know, beautiful, clean, look, it's got all the floorboards, etc. Looks lovely.
Queenslander for their...
Yeah. You can have a dog and be clean, or at least, you know, I I mean, it takes a lot of effort. I don't know how many times a day I sweep my floors because luckily they're tiled floors. Oh my God, the thought of having a carpet. Because dogs, you know, they do make a mess. They make I don't mean pooing. I'm talking about my dogs. I don't know. They always seem to be ripping up something, or do you know, like, oh God, if one of my dogs, if he can get in the bin for tissues, he loves like ripping tissues to bits and sort of spreading them. So I'm constantly brushing up tissues or bits of food that they've left around. Having said that, they never, ever poo in my house, or we. You know, they've got a terrace upstairs and a terrace out the back. They can go and do that if they need to go to the toilet, besides when they get walked. And then, you know, that is my job then. I have to go clear it up. But it's out of the house. Do you know what I mean? Imagine your dog pooing in front of you and you're just leaving it there. I have seen someone do that, by the way. I have had a friend who did that. And it's like you just can't get your head around it, because how could you? So this was the house before, when they lived in it.
It was a place of joy, peace and comfort.
Look at that. A place of joy, peace and comfort. I expect this was the photo they took when they were renting it out, because that looks a bit too clean, doesn't it? Looks like nobody lives there. But that is what it would have been like. Perhaps they were taking photos to get someone in as a tenant or whatever. That's what this house looked like before. And then, you know, what it looks like now. Oh my God, it's just incredible, isn't it? Annie, even your rabbit is trained. Oh my God. Unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable. Yeah, definitely drugs involved, I think. I agree. Got to be. You've got to be off your face on something, either drunk, because I think Jeffrey Dahmer, serial killer, he was an alcoholic. He got through it all by drink, just, you know, live with all that smell of all those bodies in his house. How could you put up with it unless you were out of it? How could you? You couldn't, could you?
For Phoebe, it brought suffering and sadness.
Look at it now.
It's not just what you see on.
Oh my God. So see the difference there? That's that table that they just showed. Let's see.
The place of joy, peace and
so there you go. You've got this thing. That's how it was.
comfort. For Phoebe, it brought suffering.
That's how it is now. You know, and this is just pure laziness, isn't it? Because these are things that could easily be thrown away. Probably a lot of it just needed a few bin bags to go in and just, you know, and a skip. I mean, it had got sort of beyond the point, I suppose. But how could that happen in 6 months?
Suffering and sadness.
It's not just what you see on top, it's what's underneath as well.
Look at that. Oh my God, you can't even, I mean, now the police have probably been in all the cupboards and took stuff out. You know, I presume, as I say, I think it's strange in a way that people are allowed to go in there. The police must have taken whatever forensic things they wanted. So we don't know where Phoebe was killed. Was she killed in her room, in the house? Was she killed in the car? You know, we just don't know, do we? So, but obviously the police feel that they've got enough forensic stuff because they have allowed the landlord to go in there.
In every corner of the house, there is rubbish, clothing, items usually in...
Everything's wrecked as well, like this, mind you. If you saw my sofa, you might think, oh God. But I do try and cover it over. My sofa is ruined, and as long as I've got 3 dogs, I won't be buying a new sofa. I might buy a new second-hand sofa, but it's covered over with throws, so it looks half decent. Do you know what I mean? It's the actual sofa is probably like that underneath the throws that are over it. But yeah, look, you can see these stools here. This is what we saw earlier, and now look at it in just 6 months.
Cupboards litter floorboards, furniture and bench tops.
So the sight is obviously one thing, but the smell, it's just unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, the air tastes dirty and it smells just... I don't know how people can be breathing this.
Dead dogs have been removed.
Yeah, so lots of dog stuff, and a lot of dead dogs were found, which James said were puppies that were ill and that had died. Well, I'm not surprised they got ill, to be honest. So he was breeding dogs, which is fair enough, but it wasn't, that's the problem. I know a lot of people breed dogs, and I know a lot of people want the dogs they want, and that's why they go to breeders. But I think you've always got to be careful, that they are breeders that treat their dogs properly, because some breeders, they are unscrupulous, and, they don't look after their dogs. And a friend of mine, she adopted a poodle who'd been kept on a puppy farm for years. And, this poodle just used to run. It was blind for a start because it had never seen daylight. It was just kept in a cage. Here in Spain, this is. Kept in a cage used as a brood mare, like for the puppies. So it was blind for a start. And it just used to go round in circles. It would just run round in circles because it had never been out of a cage except to be mated. So there are a lot of unscrupulous breeders out there. I personally, every dog I've ever had has been a rescue dog, except I had a poodle when I was in Reading, which was supposed to be a pedigree, but it wasn't. She was an unscrupulous breeder as well. I don't think he'd been treated badly. But he was supposed to be silver and he wasn't, he was black. And the thing is, by the time you realise, so I bought him as a silver poodle. I paid £200 for him at the time, which was a lot of money. It's a lot of money now. But you can imagine, like 40 years ago or whatever, it was a real lot of money. And he was, all his, Kennel Club registrations said he was a silver toy poodle. And, supposedly I could have shown him, he had this pedigree going back years. And this woman, I can't remember her name, unfortunately, otherwise I'd probably look her up now on Facebook and tell her what I think of her. But she said to me, all poodles are silver when they're born. And, are black. What did she say? They're all black when they're born. And then they're coloured, because some poodles are apricot, some are silver, etc. She said they're all black when they're born, and when he gets to about 6 months, he'll start to change to silver. So me not knowing anything else, and we didn't have Mr. Google then to Google to see if that was true, what she was saying. So I bought this poodle, fell in love with him. He was like my baby. Until I had a real baby, he was like my baby. I took him everywhere with me. And then by 12 months, he still hadn't gone silver. So I contacted this woman and I said, look, this dog, he has not gone silver. He's not silver, he's black. And I wanted a silver poodle. And of course, she said to me, oh, well, do you want to bring him back then? Well, how am I going to take the dog back when I've fallen in love with it by then? It's my little baby. And I mean, now the sort of the older me would have really gone mental and sued her or got the police or whatever, or got the Kennel Club if nobody else. I can't remember what, I think I did something. I can't remember if I reported her to someone. But obviously I'm not going to take the dog back, am I? Fallen in love with this dog by then. I'm not going to say I don't want him now because he's not silver. This is what I'm saying. Some breeders are so unscrupulous. So you just got to be careful with the breeder that you use if you don't want a rescue dog. But of course, there are so many rescue dogs. And also, some of them are pedigrees, aren't they? Because, there'll be poodles or there'll be little dogs. I know people take a chance on a rescue dog But anyway, that's just my opinion. There's so many dogs need rehoming. Hi, Dottie. So you're looking for another Chihuahua, my angel. Maybe David can help you out that. If David sends me a link, I'll send it to you. If he knows of somebody who's any good. But yeah, because with the Chihuahua, the other thing is, besides like the saga of my dog, it's health issues, isn't it? You don't know what you take on dogs. If you don't go through a reputable breeder, you want to really, to me, I'd want to go to where they breed. I'd want to see the dog, all the dogs that they've got there, see the circumstances that they're kept in, because the thought of them just being kept for breeding and not, people are horrible to dogs, aren't they, at the end of the day? Yeah, so David, if you don't mind, if you send me a link, maybe to someone who's a reliable Chihuahua person, send it by email, of course. I don't want to put anything up here, and I'll send it to my angel. Okay, so now we've got the Chihuahua sorted out.
But their excrement hasn't been.
The feces are scattered throughout, and then
there's dog shit everywhere as well, and lots of it. It's not just a little bit, is it? I mean,
I don't know how people can be breathing this.
Dead dogs have been.
It's not just, the dog's only just done a poo. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's not that, is it? This is poo that's been
removed,
for ages.
But their excrement hasn't been.
The feces are scattered throughout, and they're everywhere. They're everywhere. They're on everything, under everything. They're everywhere. A rubbish dump's probably cleaner.
While we were inside,
there was a mouse just running on.
A mouse running around, poor thing. It's not the mouse's fault, of course. Now, the thing is, I just hope his dog or dogs is okay. We saw that video of him sleeping in the car with his dog. I hope that dog's okay. They haven't mentioned the dog. Who's got the dog? I suppose it's been taken to a shelter, but, just hope it's okay. It's a shame because, at the end of the day, that dog probably loved that twat, because dogs love their owners, don't they? They don't understand a bad owner, And that dog, the way it was sleeping with him in the car when we saw that picture and video, obviously loved its owner. Where is that dog? Who's looking after it? Because it's not the dog's fault.
Doors are scarred, locks snapped off, damage that wasn't here before Bromley and Wood moved in.
And this is where Phoebe was staying.
Out of respect to her family, we've chosen not to detail what was left behind in her room. But there are reminders of a life full of hope and promise.
So see this sign, I'll be back when I've saved the world. Well, I hope she's trying to do that in the next life. So this was Phoebe's bedroom. Again, I mean, we don't know, and I'm not saying that Phoebe had any drug problem or anything, I don't know, but how long had Phoebe been
was staying?
Out of respect to her family, we've chosen not to detail what was left behind.
This is Phoebe's room. Oh my God.
Behind in her room, but there are reminders of a life full of hope and promise.
I can't understand.
They must be absolutely, when you look at how that house was before when they lived there, how lovely it was. It's a lovely house. You can see there it's a lovely house. So we've got this open plan kitchen. It's got all those bedrooms. It should, they've got to now get it back into shape again and to rent it out to somebody else. Hope they don't have the same bad luck next time.
Someone can live in conditions like this.
Still sitting on the printer, posters alerting the public to Phoebe's disappearance.
Yeah, so on the printer in this house were posters about Phoebe. Oh my God. So they'd printed out posters. They were distributing posters. And it's them who've been arrested for her alleged murder. We've got to remember to say alleged. I'll get into trouble because, you know, everyone's innocent till proven guilty, of course. Yeah. How did they even get the printer working in the midst of all that crap? God. And the cheek of it. Printing off missing posters. They know exactly what's happened to her. Now, I think it says in this video or another one that I watched, I think in the end she had missed a payment, or they wanted to go and inspect and they wouldn't let them go and inspect. I can't remember the full details. But, you know, there was, in the end, these landlords sort of realised that things weren't, you know, being sorted properly.
Alerting the public to Phoebe's disappearance, allegedly printed by Bromley and Wood, who are now charged with her murder.
Now, there's part of me thinking you could go into that and sort of look more close. I don't want to look more closely because God knows what you'd find in there. And the thing is, these people, what they do is, you know, probably when she went out at New Year's Eve with Phoebe's cousin, she probably looked $1 million, you know, and she's coming out of that shithole.
Tanika Bromley took out the lease 6 months ago.
6 months? 6 months? Oh, my God. Honestly, if you actually tried to make that much mess in 6 months, you know, if you had the 6 months trash challenge, could you be able to do it? How could you make all that crap in 6 months? They can't have done that all, surely, in 6 months. You know, honestly, that's like, yeah, 6 months. For goodness sake. Just cannot believe it that they're only there for 6 months.
7 News can reveal Tanika was actually about to be evicted from this home. It had failed its last inspection and she was given notice.
So now it's coming out, or according to 7 News. I really like this news channel. They're very good. I've watched some very interesting things about Erin Patton as well, because it's an Australian news channel. Apparently it had failed the last inspection. Oh, that's a surprise, isn't it? Now, whether they actually got inside or whether they just failed it from... You wouldn't have to go inside, would you? I mean, you just have to turn up there, look at that outside. You wouldn't even have to go inside to say fail. It failed the inspection, you know? Oh, let's have my siren. Because... yeah, as soon as you saw the outside, you would not have to go inside at all, would you? It'd be like... Oh, I knew I'd want that for other things. So, of course, that's the alarm that we've got every time to use every time Erin Patterson tells a lie, which more or less is every time her mouth opens, and it do for that. So as soon as you saw the outside of this house, it would be, wouldn't it? No, for fuck's sake, you just look at it and you just think, get these people out, get these people out of my property.
To leave, but it's then she cut off all contact with the property manager.
The owner met her years ago and says she ticked all the boxes as a tenant.
So it was a property manager that was dealing with it. So he'd met Tanika before. He said she ticked all the boxes. Do you know what? People often, they're not what they seem to be, are they? So I might give you a little bit of waffle here. So, you know, I've had years ago when my school, my business, it was a bigger concern than it is. Now it's just me teaching Spanish individually. But years ago, you know, I had other teachers working for me. It was a rented, I wasn't working from home. It was a bigger place. And I've had teachers working for me. Oh my God, what they didn't have on their CV. You know, you'd look at their CV and you think, oh my God, you know, this CV is like impressionante. I feel like I want to speak Spanish now because I'm talking about Spanish people. Oh, fantastic CVs, what they hadn't done, what qualifications they had. You know, sometimes what you see is not how it is. Do you know what I mean? So like he's saying that she ticked all the boxes. She seemed like, you know, the perfect tenant. But anyway, she turned out to be the worst tenant. Now, don't get, you know, I'm not talking about people. There are issues with tenants. Anyway, I'm not going to go into all the details. But this, in 6 months, is exceptional, isn't it? I honestly do not see how this could have happened in 6 months. You couldn't do it even if you were trying to do it in just 6 months. I mean, maybe 5 years or something.
I'm shocked. It's not the person I remember.
She never missed a rental payment until 10 days before Phoebe's disappearance.
It's overwhelming what you see. It's where do you even begin? What do you do?
But his only thought now is for Phoebe.
Sorry, I missed that. Just let me look back. Yeah. Just, there's literally no rubbish has been thrown away. Nothing. It's just been thrown out or on the floor in the house. Nothing's been cleared
Phoebe's
up.
disappearance.
It's overwhelming what you see. It's where do you even begin? What do you do?
But his only.
Well, I'll tell you what you do. You get a professional company and just chuck everything. I mean, at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to lose money from this. But money it's not what Phoebe has lost, obviously, and Phoebe's family. But, you know, they'll take it. They've just got to really I would just get rid of all that. What are you going to salvage? You know, it'd be disgusting anyway. You know, you can't salvage when don't know whether it's been peed on, shit on, whether whatever was there. You've got to gut it, really. Clear it out, get some industrial company to come in. And it's superficial. At the end of the day, I think once all that stuff's cleared out, it is superficial. That's the good news. So I'm sure then clear it all out, get industrial cleaners in, and rent it out as unfurnished but clean.
Only thought now is for Phoebe and the future she won't have.
I'm not even a victim compared to what's happened to her.
And what police say she endured at the hands of people she once trusted enough to live under the same roof.
Michael Hammond joins us in the studio. Michael, just shocking scenes. Now, the landlord says he's not a victim, but how does he reclaim his home?
Katrina, it could cost him up to $15,000 to restore the property. And while it's now abandoned, there are still belongings inside. The homeowner is working to ensure Phoebe's possessions are rightly returned to her family. But the landlord believes he may legally have to give accused killers Tanika Bromley and James Wood a month's notice to collect theirs.
He's got to give them a month's notice to collect their possessions. So, right, well, just do it. Giving them a month's notice. Obviously, they're not going to be able to go because they're in prison or they're, in custody. I don't think they're going to get bailed for murder. But I suppose they might have family or friends that will go and pick up all that shit. I won't go and pick it up with you. You'd be like, no, these people are 30 odd years old. They're not little kids. They're not kids, not teenagers. They're not even young adults. They're proper adults. They're in their 30s. And if they couldn't be bothered keeping a house clean, there's got to be drugs involved here, definitely, or alcohol, or probably both. Would you? Imagine even if it was your friend, they haven't got any kids, have they? I don't know if their parents, maybe they'd ask to go and get that stuff. But you know what? I don't think I'd go and get it. I honestly, much as it's not once they're in their 30s like that. And I've done things for my son that aren't unlike this. Thing is, you don't leave your children floundering, do you? But when does that stop? You know, when they're in their 30s, come on, you know, and all that. What are they going to send his parents, or is she going to send her parents or a sister or whatever to wade through all that, knowing what they've done as well, you know, knowing that they've murdered this poor girl? I'd just tell them, get stuffed, basically. I honestly would, even if it was my child. They're not, you know, they're adults. I just say, sorry, I'll come visit you in prison. I'll bring you some whatever you want in prison or whatever, but I'm not going and clearing all that shit up. So there you go. But anyway, you let me know what you would do.
An unbelievable development in a story that's captivated and saddened the nation. Katrina and Max, let's hope that common sense can prevail here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So, yeah, so I told you it was bad, and it is bad, isn't it? I'm going to turn that off. Now, I'm just going to have a little Google to see if any news has come out about this case while we're on here chatting, and if not, I'm going to go. So let's have a look. See if there's anything else to watch. We watched that. We watched the vigil. I don't think there's any updates, or not that I can see from, you know, what we've already watched. But I will, of course, keep you up to date. And don't forget, if you want to be kept up to date, please make sure you subscribe. You put your fingerprint on the subscribe button and the like button, of course. So rest in peace, Phoebe. God, you know, I just think there's so much to come out in this case. There's so many things we don't know. I just pray for her family and her friends and her sister and mum, particularly. What did this girl go through in that horrible? It is like a chamber of horrors, isn't it? I mean, literally, just makes your skin crawl to think about it. But anyway, she's out of that at least, but then they took her life. You know, they took her life. I still get these Fred and Rose West vibes about this couple. I just don't know. I don't know why they did whatever they did to her. You know, were they trying to get her involved in something that went wrong? I strongly believe that there'll be more to it than this. You know, maybe Phoebe isn't their only victim. But again, time will tell. We've got to be patient, wait and see what happens. But anyway, bless Phoebe. Yeah. Okay, so I'll see you really soon in the next video. And as always, until then, may your God go with you. Fly free, Phoebe. Sleep in the arms of angels. Okay, bye.